Let's talk a little Michigan Wolverine recruiting. They come in at number 6 overall. And boy, was it a fun class. Like we said, they signed Ty Haywood today. So they're one of the only programs in the top 10 with major action on the board today. But the majority of this class is already booked. We're going to get into it. We're going to definitely talk some Bryce Underwood. That November flip was probably the highlight of the class. I mean, he was committed to LSU for over 300 days. Shea Dixon says it perfectly of our Bengal Tiger site. But Steve Weltfong, let's get in here. Bryce Underwood, when did you start to hear the rumors, and when did you put some legitimacy behind those rumors?
Well, the rumors started in the fall, and it really started picking up for Michigan after another poor showing against Illinois, a tough loss where, look, Michigan, Sharon Moore hires Sean McGee to come in and be his general manager. And I think the Wolverines, as the season continued, really started to change the way that they were going to recruit, the way they were going to attack NIL and be a major player. And then obviously there were some people outside of the program that also greatly impacted Bryce Underwood and his decision to flip, whether that was a local trainer where he worked out, keeping Michigan warm throughout the season, and then some heavy hitters, some billionaires coming in and getting behind it and helping show the type of potential earnings that Bryce Underwood could have if he stayed home and played quarterback at the University of Michigan. Then he went and took like 4 visits to campus. A lot of people are like, he's not going to games. He didn't need to go to games. You can watch the games on TV. He went to watch Michigan practice like 4 times, saw a place where he could be the best version of himself under center, under Sharon Moore. So the money, the NIL, staying close to home, what that means, and then playing for Coach Sharon Moore and company, a chance to be a difference maker and get Michigan back on track. But it was around the Illinois game where Michigan and everybody powwowed and said, look, we got to get serious here. We got to change things, because Michigan, they had the number 10 defense in the country this year. They were phenomenal against the run, number 5, 129 in total offense, 130 in passing offense. If they get just a little more mileage out of the offense, if they rank in the 50s or 60s, they make the college football playoff. Even with that, they beat Ohio State and they beat Alabama to end the season. So getting back on track offensively starts with landing the number 1 player in the country, Bryce Underwood. A lot of forces came together to make that happen, and number 19 will be under center for the Maize and Blue.
Yeah. So, Chad, when we talk about recruiting momentum at the end of the cycle, is that it? Or is Michigan going to take this momentum that they found in 2025 and convert it into success in 2026?
Oh no, it keeps going, Josh. I mean, it's I'm hearing so much now about that quarterback at Michigan wanting to play with a guy like Bryce, from offensive linemen to, of course, skill guys, and just recruits in general. I mean, just the Bryce Underwood signing will have an impact on this 2026 and likely 2027 class in recruiting for the University of Michigan. And so, no, it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop today with Ty Haywood, announcing for Michigan, signing with the Wolverines and teaming up with a guy like 5-star Andrew Babalola in the trenches there to protect a guy like Bryce Underwood in the future. But no, it definitely carries on. And just to kind of piggyback, off like a Ty Haywood somewhat flip, and then Bryce Underwood flipping from LSU, man, I love the flips that Michigan, had in this class. Obviously, Bryce speaks for itself, but a guy like Jordan Young, a center fielder at safety, flipped from Clemson, late to Michigan, an elite corner that Georgia worked extremely hard to keep in this class. Shamari Earls from Virginia, a 6'2 plus corner that Georgia had extremely high on their board. They had Kirby Smart involved, Travaris Robinson, Dante Williams trying to hold on to that one as well. And then Nate Marshall, 6'4", 250 plus, had a great All-American Bowl out in San Antonio, flipping him from Auburn in this class. So, look, Auburn didn't just flip Bryce Underwood. There's other big flips in this class to build this class into a top 5, top 10 class, this recruit, and they will continue this momentum in 2026.
Steve, you want to chime in here?
I just think the root of it is they are not going to lose on the NIL front anymore. They're going in with a loaded gun when they go into these blue chip battles. Now, Bryce Underwood almost doesn't count. That was a whole nother level of recruitment there. But a Nate Marshall, flipping him from Auburn down the stretch, getting Ty Haywood in the fold here at the end of the cycle. When you flip Shamari Earls and Jordan Young, these are the type of recruitments that we haven't seen Michigan win. Now obviously they win a national championship under Coach Jim Harbaugh. That was a lot of old school recruiting, player development, outstanding strength and conditioning program. But these are guys that were committed to powerhouse programs that Michigan at the buzzer were able to flip. Sharon Moore is a head coach that is involved with the relationship component as much as just about any coach in the country, but they're giving him a full deck and his staff a full deck to go out on the trail and battle for the guys that they covet. Nate Marshall, as pivotal a recruiting win as there is this cycle, and some of these guys they flipped in the secondary, Jordan Young, Shamari Earls, Elijah Dotson from Pitt to go along with Kainoa Winston, who's a Penn State legacy. His brother's one of the best players in the Big Ten in the Nittany Lions secondary. These guys allow Michigan to continue to play the style of defense we're accustomed to seeing them at Michigan under Wink Martindale and company. A top 10 defense isn't going anywhere. Then you go out and get Bryce Underwood. You figure your offense is going to be able to get some first downs, and Michigan will be back in college football playoff contention before we know it.
All right. I want to, JD, you talk a lot of Michigan football on the hard count on the On3 channel. Are you penciling Bryce Underwood in as the starter for 2025?
I am. And I mean, I guess you can't put it in pen just yet. So I guess pencil's a good way to say it. But if you don't play Bryce Underwood game one, that is because there is something woefully wrong with him acclimating to the college game, which I don't see happening with him being the top player in America. And he just changes the entire ceiling of what Michigan can be. This is not to knock anyone in that quarterback room, but we've all seen what Bryce Underwood's capable of, and the offense they're going to run in 2025 under Chip Lindsey going to be the power spread. So essentially all that means is they're trying to maximize who they have at quarterback, give him decisions to make, and allow him to impact the game to the nth degree. If you don't have a guy like Bryce Underwood playing quarterback, you handcuff what that offense is in my mind.
So you don't handcuff. Are you just throwing him in and going full offense day one?
I think you should. And I think that's a big reason why they brought in Chip Lindsey. And that was something we were talking about a lot throughout this entire recruitment is, okay, if you land Bryce Underwood, that's awesome. You don't put him out there in the I formation and run 34 whams 40 times a game. You're letting that guy cook a little bit and be special. And so to hire a Chip Lindsey to cater to his skill set, to me, those seem married together. And I think he's your guy from game one. I truly do.
All right, Michigan fans, I want to know just how you guys were feeling in even September into October. It seemed like there was apathy when we put out a Michigan recruiting video. It just seemed like it's not that there was negativity around it. It was just that there wasn't much hope. You know what I mean? When we talked Michigan top targets compared to how things changed. Less than a month later, mid to late November, the flip happens. Michigan fans, talk to me. Can you guys believe what the Wolverines have accomplished this cycle? Let me know. Comment section below.